What an amazing song. What an amazing song. Mark and myself, we're getting our groove on with that song. Lead Me to the Rock That Is Higher Than I. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to one of the most exciting gospel shows online. I'm Simone Malone, one of your most trusted and respected voices. And today I have an exciting show. My dear brother, I've been knowing him for quite some time. We grew up in West Philadelphia together. I want to welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls everywhere, for those that are listening and for those that are watching the live stream of the video, I want to welcome Mr. Mark Dixon to FMHDMS. Say good morning, everybody. Look at that camera and say hi.
Hey, good morning, everybody.
We want to applause for you.
Thank you.
And today we have an interesting program today because many of my listeners and viewers out there know that I bring great inspiration, Mark, to the station, to the show, and to our listeners all over the world. And I wanted to spotlight you today because you're doing some great things in your recovery process from drugs. But before we even get into that, I want you to tell everybody a little bit about who in the world is this African American brother from Philadelphia, born and raised, and who can sing as well. Tell them a little bit about who in the world is this guy, Mr. Mark Dixon. Go ahead.
I'm Mark Dixon, and I'm Philly's finest. Growing up in Philadelphia, which is probably one of the best places in the world to grow up at, I attended church most of my life. Raised by a single mother, with several children, and I think the key to her parental raising success was that she put us in church.
Yes.
And through our links with the church services, we were afforded the privilege of traveling and exercising those skills and those talents that God had given us. We did a lot of that growing up, so I got an education outside of the normal education, the normal academic education. Mm-hmm. Traveled some, grew up. Decided that I wanted to hit the streets for a while. I wanted to see what was on the outside.
Wow.
And, being 18, 19 years old, mom couldn't pretty much stop you from doing things that you wanted to do. And I started experimenting with some things out there. Started going to parties and experimenting with the marijuana, alcohol. And sometime in the 80s, late 80s, the crack epidemic hit Philadelphia. And the strange thing about that was that we didn't know at that time what it would do to future generations. We just thought that they kind of glamorized it. Richard Pryor at that time had gotten burned, and cocaine at that time was a very rich man's disease. You had to have a couple of dollars,
absolutely,
to get high off at that time. So they glorified it, and being a young black male in Philadelphia without any identity about who or what you wanted to really be in life, we tended to go towards those things that everybody was doing, everybody wanted to do. And started getting high sometime about 87, 88. Wow. And
back in my high school days.
Yeah.
So we're telling our ages, right?
Right. Yeah. Went on to becoming addicted, and years of in and out of jail, incarceration, the things that come with addictions, those things like that. And a couple of times made an attempt for recovery. Don't think that I was ready at that time. I didn't think I understood the impact that it would have on my life and my family's life, because addictions not only affect you, but it affects your families, every aspect of your life, jobs, educations, social things. It rips everything up. Mm-hmm. It rips everything up. And I stayed contacted with those people that were always supportive of me, and I thank God for those people. Yes. They've always been in my corner. And went on to get incarcerated in 2001. And for those 4 years, I was incarcerated up at the Rockview Correctional Facility in middle of Pennsylvania. I got my GED there. I went on to tutor over 200 other guys into getting their GEDs for those 4 years that I was here. And when I came home, it was the first time that I'd ever had 4 years absences. Wow. And it kind of geared me to do some more positive things. I went on to school. I went to community college because somebody told me that if you go to school, they'll give you your refund money back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I did that, and I did that I did 2 semesters of school while I was in a halfway house there at that time at Coleman Hall. And I got out, I got my own apartment, and I graduated in 2008 with a associate's degree in behavior health.
Wonderful. You wanted to work in behavior health after all of that.
You know what?
Interesting.
I actually chose that field because I felt like it was something that I could excel in. I knew about addictions, drug addictions, and so forth. I knew it practically. So I just wanted to learn it theoretically, and I learned a lot of things about myself. It was like free therapy, actually.
Wonderful.
I left there, I graduated, and I went on to Drexel University, and I was 8 credits short of getting my bachelor's degree when I relapsed. In February of 2010, I relapsed, and
so you went from that period, Mark, and then you relapsed.
Yeah.
So can you tell us, your story is very interesting. What happened for you to relapse? Things were looking good for you. Mm-hmm. What happened during that process? It's important that our listeners know that, because somebody that's watching and listening, they're dealing with this now, or a family member, or a cousin, a brother, aunt, a mother,
Absolutely.
a father.
Absolutely.
So go ahead and share that.
In hindsight, I understand what happened. I had fulfilled my life with the social things, the jobs, the clothing, the relationships, all those things that come with, what people quote unquote the normal lifestyles. Right. And I wasn't fulfilling myself with anything spiritual. I would go to church, to sing. I would go to church to see old friends that I hadn't seen in any time. But I wasn't really connecting spiritually. I wasn't dealing with some issues that I should have been dealing with during that whole recovery process for me. I had achieved all those things that I sought out to achieve, and once I got those things, there was nowhere else to go. And when you don't have anywhere else to go, we usually resort back to those things that we're familiar with, and I got into my head. I didn't have any support, NA support. That is, I didn't have a sponsor. I didn't go to groups. I didn't share what I was feeling. In fact, I was facilitating groups as a counselor to other people and helping them with their problems, but I wasn't getting any help for myself. And when the opportunity for my disease of addiction to take its place in my life again, I didn't have anything to reach out for. Mm-hmm. And I felt like people expected me to be strong now. I had 5-6 years clean, and I should be knowing what to do and so forth. And I started hanging around those people that I were accustomed to hanging around, because now it felt good to be clean and to be able to give them a couple dollars. And we like to go back and show those people, look, I made it, which I know now that's the worst thing in the world you can possibly do. Once you leave it for good.
They need to stay away from it permanently.
Like Lot's wife, don't turn back. You'll definitely turn into a pillar.
But a lot of people do.
We do, and I think that's a big cause for relapse. I don't think that we need to forget about those people out there, but I think that we need to come back in another way, in another position. We need to bring other people back with us when we go back.
I know that's right.
Definitely.
Come on back home. So now you had relapsed in 2010, which was a couple of years ago, a few years ago. And what was going on during that relapse? Were you still experiencing some of those same drugs and people, and then something happened? And we'll talk about that. Okay. But go ahead and share that. Go ahead.
Everything that I built in those 10 years of my recovery, my sobriety process, I lost in 6 months. I lost the apartment, the car, the bank accounts, even the clothing. I was wearing like a size 36, and all my clothing, I went there, I was like wearing a 34, so I couldn't even fit all of the thousands of dollars of clothes that I had bought. I couldn't even fit those. Relationships started being really strained at that point. My mother was disappointed. My sisters and brothers were disappointed. They were still supportive, especially in the beginning. I can remember, selling some materials out of my house, and my sister and them coming right down and taking me into an inpatient program. And I stayed for like 5 days, but I had to get back because my whole thing was, I have this apartment. I have these things in the house. I need to get back to that. I need to take care of those things. Actually, in hindsight, I look back, I said, I needed to take care of me.
Absolutely.
Those things I eventually went back and got rid of. You know, I lost those things.
Mm-hmm. So, something happened in your life where you said that, look, this is it. God has been with me through this entire process. You've experienced the road of being in recovery, and then something hit you. When did you stop with the drugs and you got your life back on track again?
February the 23rd of this year.
That's okay. Somebody's calling. That's okay. Go ahead. They know he's on the radio, so go ahead.
The 23rd of February of this year. It was cold. I was in the Center City area. That was a place that I frequented a lot. And I was getting high. It wasn't so much on the hard drugs. It was a lot of marijuana and alcohol at that time. And I went downstairs up under the sub area to stay warm at that point.
What part of Market Street or the subway, for those who are out of our state that can understand our market system here of the transportation, were you under the subway, like 15th Street, 13th Street?
I was at Broad and Locust, actually.
Broad and Locust, very popular section.
Right across the street from all of those places that I always dreamed about singing and performing in. The Academy of Music, the Schubert Theater, all those places right there. And here I am underground.
Right.
I'm underground. That's ironic. That's ironic. And I look back on that right now, and I know that it was definitely spiritual. Yes. And at some point during this interview, I'll get back to the reason why I say that. I went down there, and they had moved all the homeless people from the 15th and Market side over to the Broad and Locust side, and it might have been about.
So you were considered to be homeless?
No, I wasn't homeless, but I hung in that area. I got you. I hung in that area. I hung with the homeless people, and there was many nights that I stayed out all night long with these people. And God, I was fortunate to have a mother and brothers and sisters that were very supportive of me and always gave me a place to lay my head. I thank God for that. That's a shout out to my family right there.
Bless his family.
Went down in there. I remember like it was yesterday. There was a gentleman that was laying there with like blankets and stuff, and he had a bottle of alcohol, liquor, and he was just laying there, and he looked very, very comfortable laying there. And I'll never forget, he had his back perched up against the wall, and he was just watching, all of us walk back and forth. He offered me some alcohol, and I drank some of the alcohol with him, and we started talking, and I started singing, and he could sing, and he talked about, oh gosh, I wish I knew this man's name. He talked about him singing with some really, really great people and that I was familiar with. Right. And I was in awe at that point because I wanted to know, like, well, who are you and what happened and so forth. And we started talking and I started singing. I was like, well, I sing. And he's like, started singing. And we ended up singing, him and I, and like 2 or 3 other homeless people that came down, and they actually could sing. We actually started singing. I had like a background, I had background vocals and everything, and we sang for maybe an hour and a half down there. And the guys that were working down there, the SEPTA guys were working out, they actually came out and listened to us sing.
Awesome.
It was such an experience for me in my life. The acoustics down there up under the subway, it was really, really great. And I mean, we went through maybe 40 songs, and we just go into one. It was a concert. It was a subway concert. It's probably one of the greatest subway concerts in the world. And after we sang our hearts out, I realized at that point something just hit me. It just hit me, said, wow, what are you doing down here?
Yes.
Like, it was like God was looking at me and said, I gave you all of this. I proved to you what I can do. Through all of the things that you've gone through, you still have what I gave you. I'm still allowing you to use this gift, and you're utilizing it any way you want to use it. But what are you doing here? What are you doing here in the subway? And I said to myself, I'm tired. I need something better in my life to do. I've been able to do this, and I've always been able to smile about it and keep positive about it. But I'm beating myself down. I'm killing myself with a smile. And I said to myself, I'm going to do something different tomorrow. And it was just like that eureka moment. And I was like, this is it. This is it. The following day, I went to 8th and Girard Medical College. Shout out to you guys. Yes. And it was like, I just allowed God to manifest himself in my life, and I did nothing. I stayed, and people got things accomplished for me. They got me in. They got my funding, and CBH got my funding, and they put me in an inpatient program there.
I want you to hold that thought. That is very, very powerful. Folks, we're going to take a break, and we're coming back with part 2. I am talking to my dear brother, Mark Dixon, who I've been knowing for years. We grew up in West Philadelphia. We're talking about recovery today. If you know someone that is addicted to some substance, they can get help today. We're going to talk about more of his recovery process, how it can help you and inspire others right after this. It's FM HDMS HD1. Hang right there. We'll be right back at you.